2. Have you ever felt like your community could use a little more connection, a little more warmth? Today, I want to share a story with you that proves just how powerful one small idea can be. It's a story about a town, a library, and a teacher who dared to dream. Imagine a small town nestled somewhere far from the hustle and bustle. On the surface, it looked peaceful, but underneath, something was missing. People were disconnected. They'd pass each other on the street with a quick non-committal nod, if they acknowledged each other at all. Everyone was caught in their own world, too busy with work, too tired from their day, or maybe just too accustomed to the quiet solitude. The town square was empty, the park benches were lonely, and the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. In this town lived a young teacher named Mira. She was new, full of energy and ideas, and this quiet indifference of her new home troubled her. She believed in the power of stories, the magic of shared knowledge, and the simple joy of human connection. She saw the invisible walls people had built around themselves, and wondered, how can I help them tear them down? One afternoon, while walking down a forgotten side street, she noticed it. An old, derelict building. Its windows were clouded with grime, paint was peeling off the walls like sunburnt skin, and a rusty sign hung crookedly, its original purpose lost to time. Most people saw an eyesore, a remnant of a forgotten past. But Mira saw something different. She saw potential. She saw a future. In the dusty, forgotten shell of that old building, she envisioned a vibrant heart for her new community. She thought, this could be a library. The idea took root and blossomed into a full-blown mission. Getting permission to use the building was the first hurdle, but her passion was contagious. She spent weeks cleaning, scrubbing, and painting. She begged and borrowed, collecting donated books from friends, family, and neighboring towns. She built shelves with her own 2 hands, arranged chairs in cozy nooks, and placed little pots of flowers on the windowsills. Slowly, painstakingly, the abandoned building transformed. It was no longer a place of decay, but a place of hope. She called it the open book. The grand opening day arrived. Mira had put up flyers all over town. She'd baked cookies and prepared lemonade. She stood by the newly painted door, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and anxiety, waiting for the community to flood in. But they didn't. The day passed in agonizing silence. The sun streamed through the clean windows, illuminating the rows of books, all waiting patiently to be read. The cookies sat untouched. The lemonade grew warm. Not a single person walked through the door. The next day was the same, and the day after that. The books began to gather a thin layer of dust, a quiet testament to the town's indifference. Mira's heart sank. She would sit by the window, watching people walk by without even a glance in her direction. Had she been foolish? Had she completely misread the town and its people? The loneliness of the empty library started to feel heavier than the silence of the town itself. She was on the verge of giving up, of admitting defeat. Maybe some places, she thought, just don't want to change. But just when her hope was at its lowest ebb, the little bell above the door chimed. Mira looked up, startled. Standing tentatively in the doorway was a small boy named Leo. He was shy, with wide, curious eyes, clutching a worn-out comic book. He had seen the flyer, and, despite his mother's warnings to not bother anyone, his curiosity had won. Is this ... is this really free? He asked in a small voice, gesturing to the shelves overflowing with stories. A smile broke across Mira's face. Yes, she said warmly. Everything in here is for you to explore. Leo spent the entire afternoon in a cozy armchair, lost in a world of pirates and dragons. When it was time to go home, Mira helped him get his very first library card. He left with a stack of books, his face glowing with a newfound treasure. The next day, Leo came back. And this time, he wasn't alone. He brought his older sister, who was skeptical at first, but soon found herself engrossed in a mystery novel. The day after that, they convinced their friend to come along. It started as a trickle, a slow but steady stream of children, drawn in by the promise of adventure. Mira started a weekly story time for the little ones. She'd put on funny voices, act out the characters. And soon the corner of the library dedicated to children's books was filled with giggles and gasps of delight. The sound of laughter, so long absent from the town, began to echo within the library's walls. Parents started dropping off their kids, and while waiting, they'd browse the shelves themselves. A mother rediscovered her love for poetry. A father found a book on gardening and struck up a conversation with another dad about growing tomatoes. They started talking, really talking, not just about the weather, but about their favorite books, their hobbies, their kids, their dreams. The library was no longer just a building with books. It became a meeting place. Mira organized a book club, and soon, neighbors who had lived side by side for years without exchanging more than a hello were suddenly debating literary themes over coffee. She set up a community board where people could share news, offer services, or just post a funny drawing. The library hosted local artists, workshops on everything from knitting to coding, and even small acoustic music nights. The transformation was incredible. The library became the town's living room. Families came not just to borrow books, but to spend time together. Teenagers who used to loiter aimlessly now had a safe and inspiring place to hang out. Elderly residents, once isolated in their homes, found new friends and a reason to get out of the house. The town square started to fill up again, not with strangers, but with familiar faces who now had stories to share. The silence was replaced by a gentle, happy hum of a community reborn. It all started with one person, one idea, and one act of kindness that refused to be discouraged. Mira didn't just build a library, she reminded people of the simple, beautiful power of sharing a story. She opened a door, and through it, a whole community walked, finding not just books, but each other. This story reminds us that you don't need a grand plan or a huge budget to make a difference. Sometimes, the most profound changes start with a single, small act. It could be a smile to a stranger, a helping hand to a neighbor, or, like Mira, creating a space for people to connect. One small seed of kindness, when planted and nurtured, can grow into a forest of positive change, transforming everything around it. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. If it inspired you, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories that warm the heart. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, take care.